Just say hello, 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 and tell me if you're coming on and wanting to just get the quick lowdown on gut health. Now we hear a lot about it, right? So my name is Tennille Hoogland, coach. I love to think about how do we athletes, how do we athletic women think of how do we approach um, being our best in midlife when there's lots going on. That's really how do we think about our health? How do we think about longevity? How do we think about being our best? How do we get to performance if that's what we're after? And this is a time in which we are really, many of us, we're coming into race season. I've got athletes racing every single weekend. It's super exciting. It's really fun. And it means that there's additional stress on our gut and our on how we digest things. Because when we're kind of up and we're upping the ante, then bam, we might need a little support. So that is what I want to talk to you today. And hopefully it'll bring a little bit of a shift in perspective of how do we think about it. And where I want to actually begin is when we think of all the things that we can do, like I'm doing it all, like I've heard that a lot. I'm doing it all and I'm thinking about it all and how I want to just simplify it for a second and come back to the basics. So we at Team Element, we think about it in terms of the integrated training system. And for mindset, nutrition, training, and recovery, we always go back to our foundation. And the foundation is the foundation because it impacts absolutely all components of our health. And if our health is impacted, our performance is impacted. And so when we think of something like gut health, I want to pull us back and look down and see if the foundation is there to really hone in. Because if we don't have sleep taken care of, for example, if we're not breathing, then no amount of probiotic supplementation is going to fix the stress level, the lack of recovery. And so it's just like putting it in perspective of where are your big levers? What is it going to, where are we? We only have so much time in the day. We only have so many things to think about sometimes. And keep coming back to, do I have the foundation of my health? Do I have the foundation of who I am in my being there and established? So that's the sleep. The sleep is, super, super important for our gut health. It's super important for our health. The other thing I wanted to say is before we get into the nitty gritty, and not that I'm going to go there really anyway, but thinking about gut health, it's like, okay, well, again, if we keep on putting ourselves, if you think about how you put yourself into an environment, and you are taking a medication, but you keep on showing up and then, doing the thing that you're taking the medication for, you're not going to support your body. And so one of the things that we really want to look at is thinking about how is it that we are consuming sugars and in our diet, and there's a lot of refined sugars, or what about the processed foods? And so I would say one of the first things that we can do to support our gut health is, yes, like we're going to get into those fermented foods and thinking about that, but what is the growth? Where is it that we're really going to come into a shift of health? And that is thinking about the environment for which those beautiful microbiome, those beautiful bacteria are just going to flourish and grow and be all that they can be. And if we keep on, having the sugar, the refined sugar, I'm talking really specifically here about sugars like white, adding a lot of sugar. And we find a lot of added sugar in juices or muffins, or like store-bought muffins and things like that. So you really want to think about how close to the whole food can you get to remove any of those added sugars or those preservatives that might be in there. So once now we're sleeping well, we're breathing, we've got our foundation, the environment is starting to be right and ready and ripe even, if you will, for how we're going to support our gut. And that's when we come into thinking about, okay, well, how is it that our gut and these beautiful probiotics, these beautiful fermented foods, this live bacteria is going to thrive in the gut and the whole digestive, like it's, just not one place. It's how are we going to keep these beautiful live bacteria from doing their jobs, breaking down things, allowing the whole the system and the communications, the neurons, all those pieces to work really effectively. Well, part of it again is taking out the things that might be not supporting the beautiful environment and adding the things that would be. And those are prebiotics. And prebiotics are things like they're oats and apples and asparagus and onion and garlic. And there's a whole list. You can just Google prebiotics and you'll find all these things and you'll be like, oh, I didn't know. You probably have those beautiful things already in your foods. A lot of these things also, in addition to being prebiotics, are high in fiber. So fiber also is something, of course, that we're thinking, we know that fiber is so darn good for us. Why? Because it helps our digestive system. Again, gut health, again, fiber, bringing it together. One of the things that it's just, again, it's the environment. Is it going to help grow a beautiful microbiome? Maybe not. Does it bring down inflammation? Yeah, the research shows that it does that. So we're thinking about, again, how is it that I'm supporting my body to take in these beautiful fermented foods? Probiotics are alive. So one thing that I want to, we definitely know in the research that whole foods like I'm just all of a sudden sauerkraut and kefir and kombucha, like all these things, that there was a whole list within the Facebook group that is so helpful in looking at what our probiotics might be in terms of whole foods. But when we're choosing a supplement, you also want to make sure that it's alive, it's living. And this is where the liquid form may be more beneficial than a capsule that is not in the same sort of formula or as alive. And the other thing I want to say is that when we're looking at strands of the small probiotic, it also can be a little bit tricky because you're just like, well, are those the ones that you need? So this is a science that is like, it's so evolving. Like, honestly, they are learning something every day. And how fast is it feeding down into the people that, like myself, who are trying to read and keep up on it. And basically they are at the point, from what I understand, is that it's like we are starting to understand how much we don't know before how much we do know. So when it comes to the different types and strands of the probiotics, basically from my research, what's the point? The point is it going to be the right one? Maybe not. Is it creating the environment for which the right ones could grow? Maybe. That probably is good. Is it going to be bad for you? No. Is it going to support your health? Maybe. So this is where we want to come down to. So what's the point? What did I want? Why did I even bring this up in the Athletes Thriving group this week? And just something to think about. We may want to supplement. We may want to get that added probiotic supplement when we are doing really high loads of endurance, because it is hard on our gut. Not only from a sugar standpoint, because we're out for hours, taking in high levels of carbohydrates and most often simple sugars. Are they used right away? Absolutely. Right. So think about, like, just keep in context of when I am training, I am fueling for my training that carbohydrate that I need for my training is going to be used during my training. Does it still go into the gut? Yes, but there's more going on there that we really want to come into understanding, is that we want to keep on fostering a healthy gut, even as we put our bodies under this duress, both in what we're consuming through that time, but also like how we're dealing with it afterwards. So I would say that if you are an endurance athlete going out for very long rides, or putting yourself into a stress situation in which you're pushing hard, then it may be a good idea to add a supplement. If you are not, if you're like me, let's just say, and not the most amazing human at taking your probiotics every day. And I don't drink kefir every day. I do try to have, I love sauerkraut, so that's helpful, but sometimes it just doesn't fit with the meal. So, there's yogurt, there's so many different things that we can tap into, but sometimes, there might be a day that, and it's like feeding the fish, right? You got to keep on feeding the fish. So you want to maybe think about how can I help? The same thing goes for other times for which you're feeling stressed. And, when we're taking on a higher load, or when you're taking antibiotics, or you're thinking, how can things just aren't running smoothly for me right now. That might be a time that you really want to keep, start with a 30 days, 60 days, trying to support and help your body. This is the point of supplements. Is it something that we want to continue on all the time? Well, maybe not. But it's always related to, how is this going to support me in a time in which I think that I might need it? So I hope that's helpful. That's my summary. That's what's the point on probiotics and prebiotics. And I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear what you think, and when do you use it, and do they help? I hope you have a fantastic weekend. It's a long weekend out here coming up in Canada. So we're just about to round off the week. And stay safe, have fun, all the best in all your racing endeavors and your events that you're taking on, and the training that you're taking on, and being strong and being beautiful and being bold. And I will catch you soon.